Wow, look at all this cool stuff. It's so cool, but how do I make it? I'm going to show you all my secrets. It starts with the junk. Yep, it's been a minute since I've done a haul video, but here we are, back at it. I'm going to go through a whole bunch of supplies that I've acquired over the last few months. Going to talk about what it is, if I know. There are a couple mysteries in here, and where I found it, and what I would use it for. So let's get right into it. I've got a wide range of stuff, some building toys, plastic toys, old electronics, random stuff I found, some stuff at garage sales, some stuff in the gutter, and some things that are gifts to the channel from family and friends. Let's start off with the building toys, because my favorite comment is whenever I use Lego, people seem dissatisfied that I'm not calling it Lego. But let me show you the type of blocks that I use. How about this Lego slab, for example? This is definitely Lego, right? It's certainly not Brixo. Oh, that's weird. Oh, well, this piece here, this is definitely Lego, right? Wait, Max? What the heck kind of Lego is that? Well, if your name is Max, now you're famous because you are a brick. The reason I like these type of building blocks is they are actually made out of the same plastic as Lego, which means that they're quite tough. They take all sorts of weathering and work really well, so sawing and filing and sanding and drilling and that sort of thing, and they always have really good right angles. So when it comes time to build up various structures, these are always a good foundation. Got some interesting ones here that have like a little bit of a round edge. These are nice when you're working on armor, especially for orcs, but because of the clean lines, you can use them for just about anything. Okay, oh, one second, just let me get this bag. No way, does that mean this video is sponsored by
Raid Shadow Legends. Gaming will never be the same, ever again. Raid is the first game to bring a true console-level experience to your phone. That's right, you can throw your consoles away now. It's free to play, to explore millions of champion combinations and master countless tactics as you take on dungeon runs, campaign battles, and PvP arena matches with hundreds of artifacts to equip and over 600 champions, all with unique skills. You can build your team, increase your power, and raid your way. These are my favorite champions. Check out this Royal Guard. When the time comes to destroy waves of enemies and annihilate bosses, Royal Guard is there to bring the pain. He can attack everyone at the same time, which is a good thing, and also does more damage based on the enemy's max health. On top of that, he brings powerful debuffs. Oh, and he's only an epic. You want a legendary? How about Sil of the Drakes? A login reward champion that everyone gets, and I guarantee you will use her everywhere you can. This barbarian has massive support potential, including passive healing for your whole team. She can also bring the pain with a big attack against all enemies. That's good, which has a chance to stun. That's even better. Look, there's a ton happening in Raid this month with some new champions, updates, and a full schedule of special events and tournaments. But here's the main event. They're currently running a special Deliana Chase event where you can get your hands on the amazing Deliana, a brand new legendary champion, just by logging in any 7 days between now and July 20th, and you'll get Deliana for free. This is one of the strongest support champions in the entire game. She's got the AoE on her main attack. Remember how I said that was good? And as a legendary champion, she starts out at 5 stars, making her easy to upgrade. More on this later. This is the best time to get started in Raid, and if you click my link in the description or scan my QR code here on the screen, you'll get a free starter pack worth almost $40. We're talking 3 free champions. That's 2 rares, and the epic Jaime Lannister lookalike, Romero. You also get 30 brews, which help you level them up quickly. Previous promotions only gave 1 less derivative champion in the past. All these treasures will be waiting for you here in the inbox. Just click the link in the description and I'll see you inside of the game. For all new players, remember when I said champions can use brews to level up in the tavern? What a typical RPG trope, right? Anyway, you can also get 50 more brews by entering the promo code MyDeliana. Yes, the intention is that you can use these to quickly level up your Deliana. Again, the code is MyDeliana. My meaning yours.
Interesting. Okay. Anyway, crazy looking metallic Brixos that also have this interesting side detail. Pretty cool. Looking forward to getting to use these in something. And I get this strange in-between block that's kind of like somewhere between like a Duplo and Lego size. Same thing basically. It's a little bit cheaper plastic, but it's got good right angles, and these domed pieces are really an interesting size. Something that you wouldn't really maybe you wouldn't find as often. So they got the tapered top. Those will be interesting. I got a whole box of those. And they have little wheels as well, so a little bit of extra detail for some rounded stuff. In terms of what I think is actually Mega Blocks, I got these feet pieces and hip and a bunch of other random stuff from what, thanks to the comments, I've learned is, I believe, Neo Shifters. It's like Mega Bloks' answer to Bionicle, both of which are obviously a very good line of products that everyone likes a lot. This one's cool because it has like some vents in it, which will definitely come in handy. It's also a nice symmetrical piece, so you lop off those two balls, and then this could be like the intakes on some kind of vehicle. If you had the cockpit coming off the front, some kind of flyer, kind of a nice ready-made piece. A good amount of detail on there. I randomly have one of these. I forget what it's called. Oh, they're called Zax. Zax. There you go. Just interesting. Because it's a triangle, it might be a little bit weird or difficult to fit into a build, but I'm sure we can make it work. Got these interesting matte plastic panels. I have no idea what they might be from, although they seem like they're a building or educational toy. Anybody have any idea what these are? If you have seen these, or if you have any idea what they might be, go ahead and leave me a comment so I can figure this out. But these will work well as just like the foundation for certain things, because they're already set up with a nice right angle or a nice 45-degree angle. Easy to work with. And I got a whole bunch of these, more than I've put out here. Probably a Mega Bloks chain. Sometimes it's hard to get a nice chain that is scale appropriate. Jewelry chains don't normally have the links that look like this. They look more like jewelry, so when you use them they don't kind of fit for the scale, but this is quite nice. And because it's plastic, it'll be really easy to work with. Got this sort of wedged together style toy. Again, I have no idea what it is, but this was given to me by a friend of the channel. It's a little bit flexible, but it'll be good as maybe a little bit of backdrop detail, or also just making kind of the foundation of stuff, because you can set up various angles quite easily, which sometimes can be tough to achieve just with holding things in place and super gluing them, that sort of thing. So build up some interesting angles and then lay a skin of detail over top. Very cool. And there's a couple of kind of corner knocked off squares and big cylinders that go with this too. This one actually has really nice internal detail, these little support posts. This could be a giant, like a road wheel in a tank tread, or whatever it's called, the running wheel in the tank tread. Oh, these are super awesome. These are like a magnetic toy. I saw them at a garage sale and I bought them just because I was like, hey, that's a slightly detailed cylinder. Got the tapered top, ridges down the side. But what I didn't realize till I got home was, in there is a Phillips screw, which means these can be opened up. I can save the magnets, and each half of this could be, oh, I don't know, the top set of coils on a massive plasma weapon. Pretty sweet. So I got a whole bag of those. It'd be good to use its cylinder form and plasma coil form. Really nice. And they're made out of the same kind of like hard, easy to work with plastic that Lego or other building blocks are made out of. Very cool. Okay, how about some things I found in the gutter? Check this out. What is it? I don't know. Some little tab or something. If you have any idea, go ahead and leave me a comment. We'll figure this out. But yeah, this would make some kind of good central detail. It kind of looks like a trailer hitch, actually, but anywhere where you have some kind of central detail, this could be tucked in there, or it could even be a structural piece, kind of just like behind the scenes a little bit in like a robot's waist, for example, down in the hips. Or you see, if I had two of these, you could actually use them as the thighs for something, but when you only have one of something, you're a little bit more limited. You got to go with somewhere where the symmetry can pay off, like the middle of a build. But still a very cool piece, nice little detail. It's a little bit dinged up from its time on the streets. It's even got neat little hexagonal pegs. Sliding door slider piece, just smashed on the sidewalk, probably courtesy of IKEA or some other cabinetry brand. I don't like using metal as much, but this had enough nifty kind of detail that I could see using this in a build. Again, because there's only one piece, it does have a little bit of symmetry to it, so this would be nice as centered up detail. Like just slap this on the back of a spaceship or something. It's kind of got a lot of cool lines to it. Random plastic chunk. just good for some armor panels. It's really non-symmetrical. Only got one of them, so probably going to be relegated to an orc build where asymmetry is actually prized. So we'll keep that in the old inventory until October, right? Nifty little plastic bolt looking thing, pretty dinged up. I found this in a parking lot, but because of the thickness of plastic at scale, this could be a really nice piece of like a big old metal machine. Maybe a little rough, but I think I'll keep it. I'll probably find a use for it. Maybe just in something like terrain, maybe not a vehicle, but yeah, still good, still good. Got some generic plastic stuff that I don't know what category it falls under, but this reflector light, sadly, the outside is smooth and all this cool detail is on the inside. This could be used in the backdrop of some kind of sci-fi terrain. Really cool. I mean, I guess I could cut it open and then use each individual panel as like an interesting ridge detail element, but yeah, definitely cool. Just wish it was the other way. And the details out on this rounded face, that would give so many more options for the application. But still good piece. Got these back of a smartphone card holder thing. They got like peel and stick, but that's not what I'm going to use them for. They're interesting shaped plastic. They got some rounded pieces, a few panels that actually slide away, providing some interesting lines. Nice little find. These were in a free bin at a garage sale, so that's a near stuff that could be purchased, but free. It's got to be somewhere just between junk and purchased. I don't know what this plastic thing is, but it's going to make a very good support beam or something. Just a nice bit of detail on a plastic rectangle that is not a building toy. I guess this was a toy, you know, hexagonal peg, square hole. That's the story of my life. This is neat. I mean, those could be rivets in there, but I'll probably just use this somewhere where I really need to set up a perfect 6-sided build. So I'll use this as the foundation. Kind of feel like this is a Beyblade launcher. It's sort of broken up a little bit, but it uses regular Phillips screws. So I think I can disassemble it and get a lot of interesting curved plastic out of it. Again, it's a little bit wacky and asymmetrical, so probably gonna go to orcs, but that's fine. I really need to restock after building the big prime orc. There's a big hole in my inventory. There's a sad little handheld fan. It's got EVA foam wings. Don't care about those. Plastic dome is cool. Hopefully I can take it apart and get this interesting piece separate. It's very nice. Combination of like curved plus hard angles plus ridges. It's almost like, I want to say Tau-esque, and it's very difficult to find junk plastic that could be suitable for something like the Tau aesthetic. So that's kind of interesting. The rest of the body of it is kind of cool too, just plastic stuff. Battery door pops off, which means that's like a prefab panel right there. Got the nice curves. You could just weather it up or use it as is. And on the inside, once you get rid of that lettering, got the little support pieces and stuff. Pretty cool. So yeah, I'll have to figure out how to take this apart, but probably a lot of good stuff hidden in there. Speaking of battery doors, have just a plain battery door. Probably one of the best things you can easily get off of toys or old electronics. It's usually a rectangle or has a little bit of a curve or angle to it, and it's got a lot of neat detail inside, like support pieces, bracing across, little like indented sections. This one happens to have a round hole in it, so it's like almost a prefab door or porthole kind of thing. Pretty cool. They got a bunch of actual toys. This train car, which probably just going to boil down to being a very cool plastic panel. Don't know yet where I might use the little wheels, but they really have a lot of nice stuff crammed in there. So nice piece, little dinged up. It's Mattel, which means this is definitely a Barbie train. Classic, really nice. Let me know if you had this Barbie train set when you were a kid. Little small cars. I actually think that this one, these wheels could be popped off and they'd be appropriate in scale for like Gaslands. Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to do that, but who knows? If you want a Gaslands build, leave me a comment. Just really interesting angles on this rhinoceros car. These pieces are cool. They got a lot of stacked cylinder detail, so nice little find. These were also from our free bin, so purchasing adjacent trash. Half of a motorbike. I actually used a half motorbike on the arm detail for the claw when I mechified the Primorc, so I will definitely find a use for this on something that doesn't need symmetry, but it needs a little bit of greebling. It's like a prefab greeble panel. Pretty good. Okay, I got this Jeep thing from like a knockoff Jurassic Park kind of set. This I actually spent real money on. I think it was $3 at Value Village, which is now one of our only thrift stores, and it's kind of stinky, but whatever. The reason I picked this up is it actually has really crisp bolt detail on the wheels, and I wouldn't necessarily have to use these as wheels. See, when you get something like this, as long as you can obscure the tread on the outside, this could actually be inset detail on the surface of some sort of something. It could be on the top of like a big machine, or even in terrain. These could be in the backdrop as like, you know, part of a big generator or something. And because there's 4 of them, and you know I like to have a set of something, you can make a pretty good row of like 4 really interesting looking chunky metal machine pieces. The other nice thing about this is it's sort of cheaply made, and everything should just kind of pop apart. Yeah, you can actually snap out the seat, just pop it like that. This whole panel, boop, goes away. I think the rest of the stuff pops out pretty easily too. I'm not going to pull it apart right now, which means that you can access all of the various paneling and angles. It's not made out of the greatest plastic. It's a little bit squidgy, but I think it's going to be pretty easy to work with. And you get a nice little fence, bars, more bolts, slightly decent looking weapons, probably just improve the barrel, and depending on what this was attached to, maybe add some armor onto it. That's pretty good. This one, not bad actually, maybe less so. And a drum magazine on the top is not, or whatever this is called, the Frisbee magazine, not as common in sci-fi. This axe is out of scale, sadly, but this panel here is pretty cool, and it's probably just the kind of thing you can pop off as well. Similarly, this dump truck, which I think was from a garage sale. You can see it's kind of dirty. There was a spider living in here, but I shook him out into the world, so he's free. You gotta save the spiders, just like you have to save the turtles. The reason I picked this up, which I think it was 10 cents, same sort of thing. It's got the relatively detailed wheels, and these are actually separate, so pop the tire off and you get the nice little machine stuff without having to worry about hiding the tire. The tires themselves are actually made of hard plastic, which makes them useful. It's sort of a general tip. You don't want to use rubber in scratch building because it's heavy, it's hard to paint, it sucks, so don't do that. The tub itself does actually have kind of interesting angles. It has these ridges in it, and like same thing with the cab. A decent amount of detail and interesting angles. So once this all gets sort of popped apart, I think it's probably also just pressure fit or tab fit. Yeah, this could be used for a lot of cool things. Different machine stuff. Again, some little detail tucked in there. Got the little hexagon pattern across there. Good find. I'd much rather spend 25 cents than $3, but when I went to Value Village, there were no garage sales yet. So hopefully this summer I'll get a lot more stuff like this for cheap. Speaking of garage sales, I also got this Molecular Visions, the flexible molecular model kit. This is a molecule making kit, and if you've watched my hauls before, you know that there's nothing quite like getting more than one of the same thing. So you get a whole bunch of these interesting plastic arm pieces, and because there's so many of them, they can be applied in many, many ways. You can use these to make texture, supports, anything. There's so many of them that you can combine them in a lot of different ways. You can use them to create your own symmetry by placing them on the opposite sides of a build. You can use them in sequence to make cool things like plasma or sci-fi reactors. One of the elements always seems to be just having a repeating element, or find a way to use them as some kind of like internal mechanical stuff. Even like a little bit of behind the scenes greebling on like a big robot or something. Pretty cool. These look like a piston right away. So pretty happy with these. And I got 2 of them. Double the molecules. So pretty excited to have these as a almost like a base material. When you have so much of something, it's almost just like a base supply, like popsicle sticks that you can like pull out and apply to many different builds. So that was an awesome find. I think my dad actually found those, so he's got the eye. I've trained him well. Then we got like the non-toy, maybe like household wares or recycling stuff, and actually a lot of the mystery comes in here because I have no idea what some of this stuff is. So let's go with these generic caps. I know what these are. These are probably from a stock bottle, like a stock Tetra Pak, I think, for making soup. The reason I like these is sort of not as typical grip ridge around the outside, not like a water bottle. These are a little bit larger and more interesting, more obvious, and it's got the sunken in surface. So yeah, just out of the box, so to speak, these are kind of ready to go with enough extra detail that if you had this set on the surface of something, maybe shortened so it doesn't look so much like a cap, but right away it does look kind of like an interesting, maybe metal element to some kind of machine or terrain. This is a cool lid. I think it's from a vanilla extract. Just has a nice little taper. So you could use this as the base of a pillar or even part of a gun barrel, tapering down to a cool opening. Good piece. And you don't use that much vanilla extract, so these are kind of rare. Spice shaker lid. Holes are probably too big to look like a vent, but who knows? You know, it could just be something interesting, maybe a behind the scenes type detail, although it does have a sunken inner face, so it is kind of cool. I mean, you could always cover that up with another thing, like you can layer in details. Yeah, take this poker chip for example, boom, suddenly it's way more interesting. And then you got to cover up this, what is that, the clubs, you got to cover that up. You take, what's this thing, like a miniature air hockey or Etch-a-Sketch. What is this thing? Is it for magnet sketch? Anyway, you know, layer up those details and eventually you obscure all the original parts, which is what I do a lot of the time. So good little trick for using slightly interesting parts combined together to make a very interesting component. This is a cool thing. I have no idea what it's from, but it's like a hard plastic ring. There's a nice little ridge and slope. Very cool. This would be really good to use as the base of a tank turret. Really looks like a nice solid metal construction going up to having a turret sitting on top. These are cool, like a lid cover type thing. Let's look at all that interior detail. Super nice. Lots of little ridges and supports. This would be cool in like Necromunda or some other kind of like sci-fi techno sewer type thing. These could be like the archways over a door. I've only got 2 of them. It'd be cool if I had even more. Similarly, these big 2-pack lid holders, which have a cool set of openings around the outside, which could be like possibly used for like a bunker or something like that. Also, just generally, they have a lot of raised elements, like these little nubs on the surface. And I mean, these could be separated apart and actually used as like maybe part of the shoulder detail on like a, you know, some kind of giant mech walker. I'm not really sure if anyone is currently making one of those these days, but that could be useful there. Yeah, kind of cool. These are pretty common, but this is one of the best ones that I've found. Actually, someone gave this to me. Where would you use, if you had a big detailed ring, where would you use it? What kind of project would you put this in? Or what do you think I should do with it? Here's a mystery item. I don't know what these little tabs are. Does anyone know what these little tabs are? They're cool. They're made of hard plastic. They've got a lot of interesting little detail around the top and a sunken area or recessed area in the back. And I have a lot of them. And I like to have a lot of things because then you can repeat them and make interesting patterns, and it's a lot more useful than just having one of something. Could be used, you know, a row of them could be used as supports above or underneath a walkway or some other ledge or something. Got to take care of getting the text wiped off, but otherwise pretty cool. But yeah, where are these from? Do you know? Somebody help me. Help me, I have no idea. Another big mystery, this like handle thing. Hey, Steris, that's from Mistborn Era 2. Cool. Maybe this is a ferrochemical symbol. Nice, tough plastic with interesting rounded shapes. Could be easily taken apart at this seam and used for, I don't know, any kind of centered up detail, or maybe even part of like a big weapon. More little tab things that I have no idea what they are, but they have cool little lumps on them and overall an interesting shape. Again, this might not be that interesting if I only had one of them, but I have a couple, so I can use them in a repeating pattern of some sort, or, you know, to frame something. Anytime you have a pair of something, you make your own symmetry, and yeah, a lot of options open up. Does anybody know what these are? And what would you do with something like this? It's almost like a little spoon. It looks like the Big Dipper. Anyway, let me know what you think. Got some random like appliance or electronic kind of stuff, like these plug converters. Based on my experience, I think this is going to be very tough plastic, very hard to work with, but a lot of cool angles and could serve as a pretty good foundation for various mechanical builds. Got a variety of different shapes from the different converted plugs. Round shape to a rectangle, so just like it converts the plug shape, for me it will convert structural shape, going from something more rectangular and angled to something round. So good transition on like a gun barrel on a big epic mech, for example. What is this thing? Weird. Remember when phones were in the house? Well, these are dead, but they have kind of a good plastic shell, and the best part is there's 2 of them. You know how much I'd love to have 2 of a thing. Nice rounded plastic, probably again tough, but pretty easy to work with. Kind of, I don't know, I gotta learn more about plastic chemistry, but I think it's the same or similar type of plastic to something like Lego, kind of a shiny, rigid plastic. But 2 of these means 2 robo thighs, 2 robo shins, or some other paired up or matching piece of armor. Got a couple different curved angles to them. So if you're ever lucky enough to get some old phones that someone's just about to throw out or recycle, consider taking the battery doors. So thanks for coming to my secret material collection workshop. If you enjoyed this glimpse and touching of junk, then go ahead and check out everything else I've ever done, because I actually build things most of the time. If you saw anything interesting that I didn't really talk about, or you think that you have a better idea of how I should use it, go ahead and leave me a comment and subscribe immediately, and I'll see you in the next video, which will definitely be a build, not a haul. And I'll catch you on the flip side. Bye.